Hey guys, just gonna get us all set up here. Got a fun one for us today. Okay, let's share the screen. All right, I think I need to. There it is. All right. So I'm also going to be pulling up our live chat, and I will be pulling up the question and answer Q&A. So just a reminder for you guys, if you are new here, there is a Q&A section in the Zoom panel. Feel free to use that. Feel free to ask me any questions that you might have. I'm happy to stop at any point in time. Thank you guys for tuning back in. I was at a kind of like a conference last week. So I appreciate you guys coming back after a hiatus week here. So as usual, as a thank you, I'm going to be, and let me just pull up the chat here. As a thank you for you guys that do and are more AI focused, I am going to be putting a free 7-day trial to our AI construction community. One thing that I'll note about that community today is I did release a new course in there this past week. I filmed it last month, and then we got it all structured up, edited up, and it is now live. It is a full course about creating custom GPTs in construction. So, yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think I've given a few minutes for people to trickle in here. We have some people continuing to trickle in. And I'm just pulling up the panel list here. We have 217 people registered to attend today. So it should be a fun one. People are still joining, which is cool. So let's jump into it. So you guys have probably seen a ton of stuff about Clawbot. Um, I have been going down a rabbit hole with this, to be honest, and I wasn't really sure what the response would be from the construction community specifically on this, just because I didn't know if it was too in the weeds as far as like me being an AI nerd, or if the construction community was like really actually interested in something like Clawbot. I think it's kind of far from being like a consumer focused product at the moment. But we're going to be jumping into a bunch of different things that I pulled in for us around, the pros, the cons. What realistically does it take to set this up? What competitors are already out there that are also doing this? What are your options? I know everybody's got their own kind of preferences around what kind of AI chats they're using. So I'm going to just jump in here and feel free at any point in time to use that QA. I want you guys to feel like this time in this session is for you to get your answer or your questions answered, for you to get clarity on some of this stuff. And really, my goal is for you guys to walk away from this feeling like you learned one new thing about AI and how it can be used in the construction industry. And then one other quick note before I jump into the slides here is I try to keep these slides very like position agnostic. So whether you're a project manager, whether you're a contract administrator, whether you're a CEO or president, whoever, I try to build these to be just, industry focused presentations. And then you guys, I just want your wheels to be turning around. Oh, hey, like this could apply to me in this part of my job or this part of our company and so on. So with that, I will continue on here. So if you guys aren't super familiar with Clawbot, Clawbot it used to be, or it's gone by two kind of names. If you guys are seeing the LinkedIn post, you're probably seeing, Clawbot AI agents, but also can be called OpenClaw. It's basically an innovative open sourced, and if you guys aren't familiar with what open source means, it means it's free. There's companies out there that, create code, create software, and usually you pay for that software, right? And that's that typical software model. But other companies, they just post everything online and anybody can go use it. Anybody can go take it. Anybody can do anything they want with it. And their idea there is if they get a lot of people, using this and downloading this because it is free and they can build on top of it, they're actually creating this network of developers that are now developing with their tools and they're advancing their software because you have so many people innovating with it. So open source, local first AI agent, and I'm also going to decode what local first means. So there's cloud, like most softwares and every AI chat that you guys are kind of working on right now. And as far as like Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT, everything's kind of in the cloud, right? It's all online, it's all digital. Local first means it's local to your computer. It's operating on your computer. And we've talked about some other stuff. There's been questions that people have thrown in this Q&A about the CMMC guidelines for federal contractors and, how do I still, use LLMs and stuff like that. And one of the options is local first. Like local means it's on your machine. That information is not getting uploaded. It's not in a cloud. It's not getting shared, right? So everything is local on your own server. And a lot of times when you guys see these people on LinkedIn or social media that are building these AI agents using OpenClaw, they're going and buying a Mac Mini. They're going and buying like other computers because this needs a system, a server, an operating system to control and operate within. So you're not just signing up for a subscription when building AI agents with this particular tool. There are plenty of cloud-based AI agents that are much simpler to use than this. But yeah, so just getting back to this. Unlike conventional cloud-based assistants, Clawbot operates entirely on your personal machine, allowing it to connect seamlessly with your daily applications like email, calendar, and messaging platforms. This AI assistant is built to perform tasks on your behalf, functioning as a dedicated coworker that never takes a break. So in this presentation, we're going to basically be exploring its capabilities, setup requirements, and basically assess, different use cases and what I would trust with this and what I wouldn't trust with this. With great power comes great responsibility, and this is a key thing. Is like you download this onto your machine. If you're logged into your email, if you're logged into your calendar, if you're logged into your banking information, this thing has full autonomy to go actually do stuff. So you have to be very aware that if you're going to program an agent on your local computer and it's going to be able to click around like you in all your logged in accounts, and it's going to have a password manager that it can use to log into accounts and then go verify that it's you logging in, that stuff allows it to go take action in those accounts. So as you're thinking through this, just think about, hey, am I going to spend the necessary time and resources to trust this AI agent to go autonomously be in this account without me watching and do certain things? Now, there's some safeguards, some guardrails that I'll talk about later on, where we can program like a human in the loop experience. But the thing is, okay, we program this human in the loop. And if you guys aren't familiar with that term, it's basically when you have an AI workflow and at a certain point in the AI workflow, it stops you or it stops working and waits for a human to give it direction, whether approve or reject something, to file something away or follow up via email. So you can build these in, but again, if you don't invest the time to make sure that human in the loop flow is actually triggering, that things are actually being stopped when they should be stopped, you're going to probably find it doing things that you're not going to be too happy about. So a local AI agent is essentially just a personal AI agent that operates using an LLM directly on your computer, allowing for enhanced, privacy and control. But at the same time, it's going to give it much more power than the typical cloud-based AI agent, which we've done webinars on in the past, specifically the OpenAI ChatGPT agent. So, unlike traditional cloud-based AI assistants, Clawbot functions locally, ensuring that all data and interactions remain on your device, which I think is solving somewhat of a problem from what I've heard from people in the construction community really trying to implement AI into their companies. Security, privacy, all of those things are important to you guys. And people in your company are using AI. It's just, are you talking about it? And do you have an SOP around it? What's allowed, what's not allowed? So I think this is just a further kind of vote in the direction of, you know, your PMs are using Gemini, this other PM is using ChatGPT. Everybody has their workflows that they like. The company knows people are using it, but there's no rules around it. There's no SOPs around it. There's no do's and don'ts around it. There's no training around it. There's no shared collaborative account around it. And with Clawbot, if you guys don't have these rules and regulations within your company already, this is just giving more power to that PM that's on this webinar that's say, "Oh, Zach showed me how to set this up, and now I'm gonna set up my life, and I'm gonna go fishing in the afternoon and let this thing do whatever it does." So again, this is just basically giving us more power to do more things, and with that, I think from a company and a company culture perspective, it just needs to be talked about. Dan, yes, they are. Dan just asked, are the webinars available in the school community? Yes, they are. If you're in the community and you click on the classroom tab, every webinar I've ever done is listed there. So just to recap here, you guys, so ensuring that you guys are going to basically talk about this stuff, with more power is coming more risk. Yes, it's cool that it's only going to function on local machines. Yes, it's cool that your data is not going to be uploaded into the web. But, these cloud-based AI agents have safeguards built in. This doesn't. All right. So why is everybody talking about this? Why is MacBook what are those called? I just said it earlier, but the Mac kind of computer systems, why are their sales spiking right now, and Apple stock is seeing a result due to AI agents? So Clawbot's introduction basically was late last year, and early this year, last month is when it kind of started to explode, when people actually got to try it a few times, and then some viral videos came out on LinkedIn and stuff, but it ignited significant enthusiasm amongst developers, basically marking that this was like a pivotal moment, that everybody can now go program an autonomous agent that has full access to everything on a local machine. GitHub, for those of you that don't know, this is where the developers live. This is like their LinkedIn. If you guys saw this on our version of LinkedIn in construction, the nerds hang out on GitHub, like myself, and 100,000 stars is just like basically a viral situation for code. AI plus direct computer control. We've seen some experimentation from the bigger players around this space in the past. ChatGPT had a local app that you could install on your computer that I was experimenting with. And they've since kind of like let that go and focus more on cloud stuff. But what Clawbot sets it apart is basically its unique ability to combine AI capabilities with direct control over a computer system, enabling it to perform actions autonomously. This is going to give it all the buttons that a real person can click, right? So if you guys are thinking about, okay, we're building agents, what's that next level? And it's going from, just chatting and writing, reply to this email or help me think through this thought, to go click this and go do this and go be that personal assistant that's going to go book, travel to the AGC conference or something like that. Self-learning and plugin development. So users have reported that Clawbot can actually learn new skills autonomously. For example, it can develop plugins to meet specific user needs, showcasing its adaptability. And just to kind of like de-nerd that a little bit for you guys. This is basically showing the fact that, okay, well, if this AI bot doesn't have the ability to like sync two different types of data, meaning like, okay, I have stuff over here in my this Google Calendar, but then he's got stuff on his Apple Calendar and he's trying to use both. It's actually able to develop its own little tools that can sync that data between the two. Local privacy and open source freedom. Two huge factors unlocked. A lot of these AI companies have kind of kept a lot of their code under lock and key. Facebook is the only one that has kind of approached things in a open source, meaning it's free, go take it, go steal it, and go use it, whatever you want. And a lot of times when you see open source, they say open source, but if you're going to use it for any type of commercial purpose, then you have to pay for it, right? And Clawbot is basically truly open source. Go use it and go abuse it is kind of their mentality because you're downloading it onto your local machine. It's running locally. Nothing you are doing is adding cost to, the developers of Clawbot because everything is like the server, the cost, the maintenance of it, and like the electricity, like all that stuff's happening on your local machine only. You're just using a copy. You're just copy pasting, installing, and it has no connection to them. And that's the benefit of having it locally because it's not connected to anything else. So Clawbot emphasizes privacy and control because it runs on your local device. I hope that's clear by now. Being open source and free, it allows users to manage their data without relying on external servers or services or support. So let's talk about what Clawbot can actually do, because there's a ton of people out there that are like hyping this up and basically saying, oh, I built this agent that never sleeps. It's my employee that never sleeps. And I'm going to work them like 24/7, 365. So this is one, like a few different pieces here, and I'm going to try to approach this so you guys can kind of glue these pieces together later on and maybe approach this from it can do this and let's try this within our company. So natural conversation and memory, nothing new, nothing crazy. This is powered by an LLM, so it's going to have a lot of the same familiar features as far as like chatting back and forth with it, but Clawbot interacts through familiar messaging platforms, allowing users to communicate naturally. It's basically going to be like you're texting a colleague. So this will be able to send you text messages and stuff like that. It retains context from the previous conversations, and that's going to help it remember past instructions, preferences, and making future interactions more personalized and efficient. Tool integrations. So Clawbot is equipped with an array of plugins known as skills. So it's basically like a little app store, and it enables it to integrate with various tools and platforms. This means that it can interact with applications like email, calendars, and project management software, basically enhancing its utility in everyday tasks. So this is like if you guys are looking for a context startup idea, there's not a ton of construction focused integrations in here from what I saw. This is basically like you got to remember Clawbot just came out like a couple months ago, really. But people are developing so quickly with it, and you can see that from the traction on GitHub, which is why I referenced that 100,000 stars. Basically, this is operating more as like personal assistance right now, and then you can kind of program it to go do different variations of research or data filling or whatever else that you guys might need it to do. But essentially, it has pre-built integrations with a lot of these things already. You don't need to go program it in to go be able to interact with Outlook Calendar, and so on. Autonomous task execution. So Clawbot can autonomously perform complex tasks without needing consistent input. Users can assign high-level instructions, and Clawbot will break these down into manageable steps, executing them in correct order while using the necessary tools to complete the task. So this is basically following the flow that all of these agentic AI systems are operating with already that you guys are using in the cloud. This is just going to require you to understand this at a little bit deeper of a level. So I'm going to take a second to kind of break this down into pieces for you. So at Contracts Connected, the software that I build for like an AI powered back office, we take the approach of, okay, if a user says, or if there's a question that's asked about what give me a list or a report of all the certificates of insurance that are going to expire in the next 90 days or something like that. There's what we call an orchestrator agent. And the orchestrator agent is basically like this agent up top that has access to all these little mini agents and all these little mini tools, right? So the orchestrator agent does exactly what it sounds like. It just orchestrates the use of all these different agents and tools. And if you guys have been watching these webinars from the beginning, you've seen me actually build out some of these live with you on these presentations where we have an orchestrator agent that needs to figure out, okay, what is this person asking? Oh, they're asking about COIs. So, I don't need to go look up what was listed in the commitment. I don't need to go look up, the status of if the contract's been executed or not. I don't need to go look up, history. I need to go over here into the documents. And then that agent might have an orchestrator agent below it. Okay, so this is our document orchestrator agent. Now it's going to use the tools to go find a list of the certificates of insurance, look at all the dates, gather it up, push it back up to the main orchestrator agent, generate the response. So it just is about, stair stepping, almost like you have a specialized employee for each little task or each, tool. So that's the way that you need to think about this stuff when you're approaching this. I'm doing my best because Clawbot does require a little bit more of an advanced knowledge around AI. One for even building it, but two just to protect yourself from what it can do. So this is just autonomously going to be able to break those tasks down and then be able to kind of like designate to the right tool, go to the right place. You've connected all these skills. Other words for skills are like apps in your app store on your phone. So you have this like email skill, this calendar skill, you have this like internet browsing skill. And when you ask it something about your calendar, it's going to be able to orchestrate to the proper skill. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying my best here to really like keep this top level. Self-improvement and learning. So one of Clawbot's standout features is its ability to learn and adapt. If it encounters a task it cannot perform, it can create new capabilities or skills on the fly. This is enhancing its functionality based on user needs and requests. This is probably the like coolest part for me. Like you can kind of hear the excitement in my voice. I have been experimenting with Clawbot and I'm thinking about like, and you guys can let me know if this is something you would want to see. I can actually build out an agent with you guys in a future webinar if you'd like that. Doing something, you guys can tell me what you wanted to try to get it to program to do. But I would need to like screen share into like multiple computers because I'm not going to host this on my personal computer, and you shouldn't either. But yeah, this is going to basically be able to like say, oh, well, I got a text message from Zach saying that he needs travel to a conference in Orlando for the weekend of March 19th. I don't have, a specific skill or plugin adapted to that. So let me think through how human would typically approach this. And based on LLMs, kind of reasoning around, the average of all of these like I have a lot of data points saying the sky is blue, so the sky is blue, and that's what I'm going to tell somebody when they ask me the sky is blue. They have the same data points around, like what's a process for like going and looking up flights, and what's based on this screen and based on these pieces of text on the screen, what's like an obvious next step for me if I want to book this flight. So this being able to, self-improve and learn is awesome. And it can also start to act more as like that personal assistant, right? So if you're like, I always want my Airbnb to be walking distance to a gym, or I need this to be close to XYZ restaurant, you can actually have it start to learn your preferences, and it will basically create that little database from what I've seen in some examples that I've watched other people do. And then again, the local first privacy, basically ensuring that the data is stored on your guys' own computer and it does not leave your computer. Emails, files, all secure, not transmitted to external servers, providing peace of mind for users. All right, so let's talk about what it shouldn't do. Arguably just as important. And this isn't to say that it's not going to get there, and this isn't to say that you can't do this with the proper safeguards or safety measures, but it's not a replacement for human judgment. So Clawbot's autonomy means it can execute tasks without direct supervision, but it can misinterpret instructions or context, leading to errors. Users should always review critical outputs before acting on them to prevent misunderstandings. So one thing that you can do is you can build in human in the loop where you can say, before you make this decision, or if there's anything relating, to XYZ, you need to text me and you need to ask me for permission before you can continue to execute on a task that has information like banking details or a financial transaction or so on. So not a replacement for human judgment. And if you are going to eventually trust this, to do this, and I'm saying this because it's possible that it can do all this now. This is more about what you ask it to do and what you program it to do and what you allow it to do. These safeguards here are trying to help you understand what you should not go program it to do today, just if it's your first time building an autonomous AI agent on a local machine. So, yeah, human in the loop, or, just don't have it go do those sensitive things that, can't be reversed. This is still only a couple months old. You got to remember. So, as an actively developed tool, Clawbot may experience bugs or unexpected behavior. Users should expect to encounter some growing pains and be prepared to adjust configurations or troubleshoot issues as they arise. So, this is open source. They are relying somewhat on the community to help them improve the code base and to help them improve the product, right? And that's the whole point of being open source, where they're now, opening it up to the entire world to go in here, use it, and improve it. So you got to remember this is only a couple months old. So when you're asking it to do things, you're gonna face some bugs. Maybe it's gonna be some headaches in the beginning. But if you master it now, things are only going to get better. And whether you want to take this on now or if you want to wait for everybody to figure out the bugs and then use it, that's up to you. But by the time that everyone else figures out everything and has everything dialed in, maybe it's too late that they're that far ahead. So I like to be at least like experimenting with these things, even if I'm not feeling super confident from that technical perspective. It's a new technology here. It's a new way of interacting with prompts. So, you got to be just prepared for that. Clawbot does require careful permission settings to function securely. So users must define its capabilities and avoid granting excessive permissions that could lead to accidental data loss or security breaches. So keep in mind, if you give it information, there's nothing to stop this thing. Like if it has access to your Facebook account, there's nothing to stop it from going and taking the credit card information that you've given it in the past and going and writing a post with your credit card information or your billing address. Like it could go post it straight on Facebook. Like that's the amount of control that these things can go do. They can go click on whatever you want it to and go log into whatever you want it to as well. So keep in mind, it's not truly at a human level yet. So all these guys that are building out, I have an AI employee that works 24/7 for 365 days a year and they never sleep. It's not truly an AI, like it's not truly an employee, right? Like it's catchy, it's cool, like it hits headlines and it gets people to engage with it on things like LinkedIn. But while Clawbot can autonomous or can automate many tasks effectively, it does not possess the creative reasoning or problem-solving capabilities of human intelligence yet. And that's where we're like trying to go with this, right? Like we really want to approach this from like we're trying to just duplicate ourselves at the end of the day, and how we think and how we reason and what we click on. If you notice anything about this, it's like, what are we doing? Oh, it's getting installed on a computer. What can it do? Well, what can a human do? Like we're just replicating ourselves. We're not there yet. It is designed for operational tasks rather than strategic thinking or innovative solutions. So anything that you're going to have this Clawbot do should be kind of like built out in an SOP format. Even if you're simply going to use it for like your personal assistant or something like that, keep it really focused on something that's SOP'd out. You know, if you're going to have a real personal assistant, you should have an SOP for how they manage your inbox. You should have an SOP for how they manage your calendar. This isn't just like a set it loose and ask it questions and it's going to be great out of the box. When you're using Clawbot, you need to understand you're using something raw and it's giving you the raw materials to go build something that can be really useful for you. And if you want something that's like out of the box, plug it in and it works, you should stay more focused on like a subscription-based, cloud-based, AI agent tool or something like that. But that's not to say it can't do a ton of things. Like I say all the time, and I say to our team at Contracts Connected, it's like AI can do all of this right now. We have the technology to do quite a bit of stuff. It's just, are people investing into the time to go do those things? And I think construction's seeing like an uptick in like the context space of like, okay, there's all these like new softwares coming up and stuff like that. But somebody has to sit down and dedicate the time to building with these tools to solve the problems in this industry. And it can solve a lot more than we're asking it to do right now. It's just, it hasn't been programmed or asked to do that yet. So I wanted to just get into some use cases really quickly here. So how are we doing on time? Okay. So potential use cases in constructions, we have things like, email and auto responses. So Clawbot can streamline your email management by automatically monitoring your inbox, drafting responses to common inquiries, sorting emails into relevant folders such as, bids or schedules. Early adopters have reported that can handle, some routine RFI stuff if you give it access to your, file structure system as well, making communication more efficient and reducing the burden on construction managers or anybody in construction. The thing about this is, again, if you're going to give it the ability to delete things, you can have it file things away and like a folder for you to review where it's like, okay, this is all junk. You can quickly review it. The way that I was building with it when I was experimenting with this was it basically structured it into a few folders: a finance folder, a newsletter folder, a Zach to review folder, and then an urgent Zach to respond folder. So I was trying to play around with a dummy inbox there, because I didn't want it to go delete things on its own until I was really sure. And the more that you have it dump into that review folder, I was finding that I could program it to go through a workflow with me where when I reviewed something and I took action on it, it would read the context of the email and it would look at the action that I took, and it would be able to like add that to its knowledge base of how to operate within the standard operating procedure. So again, it's just like training an employee, right? So if you had your personal assistant using that same file structure, when they see the content of the email and they weren't sure if they should delete it or if they should move it to finance or if they should move it to newsletter, and they saw what you did with it, they're going to catch on. So it's literally like how you would train a employee on your team. Document management and data entry. I think that this could be like one of the biggest unlocks in construction. Clawbot does excel in this document management space, and we all know, that's literally our one of our core things that we relieve pain around at Contracts Connected. Is like, you guys have PDFs everywhere and they're flying through inboxes and they're flying and then you're like trying to translate them into Excel trackers, and it's crazy what you guys are dealing with, like hundreds of thousands of PDFs over the course of a year. So Clawbot does excel in this document management space by reading and writing files directly on your computer. So you're not chatting with ChatGPT and then trying to export it. It's like this will open up Microsoft Word. This will go open up Google Docs. This is going to write just like a person would be writing, right? So it can extract text from images automatically. So if you guys get something that's uploaded and it's a PDF and you're like, man, like every time I get emailed a daily report, I got to go, transfer it into our project management solution, or I got to go, file it away here and then go update this Excel tracker that we've received it. Like that's the stuff, that's the SOP style stuff that this thing is going to excel at. So input the information in the spreadsheets or databases, like I said, significantly reducing manual data entry tasks. I think this is going to be really cool. And the coolest part about it is it happens on a local machine. So the files are going onto your guys' servers. If it's a cloud server, it can go upload into there. But remember, where it can upload, it can also delete from. So if you're giving it the power and access to places, you have to be okay with it having the power to do the opposite. So if it can add, it can subtract. Schedule and deadline monitoring. So calendars are also going to be a big one, especially complex calendars like, critical path and so on. So keeping track of key dates is crucial in construction, and Clawbot can serve as a digital watchdog. It can scan contracts and project management files for important deadlines, sending timely reminders to ensure nothing is missed and helping avoid costly delays. So this is, another example, and I think that this closely relates into the document management, but, a lot of your guys' schedules are all baked into PDFs at the end of the day, or project management software, right? And if this system every morning when you get your cup of coffee and you sit down at your computer at 6 a.m. And you want to know, what fires you're going to face that day around the schedules, you guys can have this whole SOP where it went and read every single project file, went and looked in your project management solution, went and looked at the collected documents, went and looked at the most updated documents, and then it scanned your email. And it basically compiled a report for you around any conflicting information or, any behind dates as far as what your guys' original schedule said. So this can actually serve as that, data ingestion, way more than a human would be able to ingest in any given morning. It would take us hours and hours to read all those things, compile it all together, align all the dates, and then put a little report together. Meeting preparation and minutes, I think everybody is using these. I have like a couple of them in here, these automated meeting recorder people. So before important meetings, Clawbot can prepare by gathering relevant information about participants, project updates, and unresolved issues. This ensures that you are well prepared for discussions and can even draft meeting minutes and action items after the meeting has concluded. So, if you're going to I've seen some people create their own email, so it's like a personal assistant email, but it's just an email that Clawbot is operating, and then it can go join the meetings and be there. But as far as, the pre-work around the meetings, it's again, digesting all the information, all the emails with all the people that were on CC about this meeting, and give you a write-up so you can be prepared there. Clawbot can also, automate the aggregation of daily updates from project supervisors into concise reports and then email them out to the entire team if you wanted. Status updates, weather conditions, it can research all that kind of stuff, report on that stuff, safety issues, and it can save a significant amount of time for managers and ensures everybody's informed about the project's progress. So again, this would be more of an SOP as well. Hey, I want this information sent out to the entire team every single morning or so on. All right. So let's talk about, I hope that got your guys' gears spinning there a little bit as far as, what is possible. So what does it take to set this thing up? So you need compatible hardware first off. Clawbot is basically installable on various operating systems. It can be on Windows. It can be on Macs and it can be on Linux, which is like something that can operate on any computer, really. It's just an operating system like Mac or Windows, if you guys haven't heard of it. For optimal performance, especially for AI workloads, many users prefer to run it on a dedicated machine like an Apple Mac Mini. There it is. With Apple Silicon. So Apple's M1 or M chips are insane as far as the processing power. And if you guys have heard about like all these like data centers and GPUs and NVIDIA stock like skyrocketing, it's because it takes a lot of computing power for LLMs to operate, right? And when we're using ChatGPT, we don't care. We're just message after message after message, even if they're silly, right? And we just don't even think about the computing power that's needed to get those like writing a poem about, RFIs and submittals to us. Like we're just asking, right, for entertainment purposes sometimes, but it does take a lot of computing power. And you've probably seen some news, some articles. If you've heard about Clawbot, you've heard about the data centers that are getting built and the GPU shortage, and everybody's fighting for that kind of stuff. And what you're facing when you're doing this on a local computer is like you're no longer getting the benefit of OpenAI having a, massive warehouse in Texas filled with these GPUs that are just like annihilating water, like at the speed of light to try to cool them down. You're now taking all of that and you're trying to put it in your own closet. You're trying to put it on your own desk, right? So, some of the most optimal operating systems out there are actually like the Apple systems, just by benchmark purposes. So that's why if you see some Clawbot videos that have gone viral, you've probably seen people out there buying Apple Mac Minis to run this thing on. It's another reason not to run it on your personal machine. You don't want it eating up so much computing power that you can't even do your own daily tasks, right? The setup is pretty straightforward. They've done a pretty good job making the actual installation of this user-friendly, especially for those with, moderate technical skills. Clawbot is offering more of a like one-line install scripts via an NPM for a quick setup. So if that sounds like another language to you guys, it's gonna provide this like web-based interface for configuration after installation. And there's some really easy YouTube videos that you can follow that I followed when getting this set up. So you want to define the permissions, otherwise known as the skills. And skills are just another word for, apps on your Clawbot to go be able to do, or you could call them plugins. I don't know why they call them skills when there's already so many words for the same type of thing. But when setting it up, it's essential to define its permissions by enabling or restricting its skills. So starting with the minimal permissions is definitely what I would recommend. Allowing users to gradually expand its capabilities as they become comfortable with its functionalities is something that can be easily done in their current system. So I would say, try to give it very minimal things. Like I wouldn't connect it to any of my accounts to begin with. Start testing it out. And this should be like almost like a research and development kind of exercise for you guys. Have it say, have it go write you a weather report every morning for the first few days, and then have it go. You could give it view only access to your calendar, so it can only view what's going on your calendar. It can't go delete things and change attendees and stuff like that. So I would definitely recommend to start out with the bare minimum, maybe one or two skills to start that are not risky, because better safe than sorry, right? This should not be something that you guys are expecting to get in, turn on, and give it access to everything and have it work properly. There's a lot of guardrails and a lot of building that you guys need to do in terms of restricting what it can and can't do to make sure you guys are safe when using this. So with great power is great responsibility, and this is exactly where that responsibility starts. It's about starting slow and building from there. So then you're going to choose your AI model. Users have the option to either use a cloud AI service like OpenAI's GPT-4 or Claude for their AI model, or they can choose to run a local model for enhanced privacy. The choice depends on a user's needs, budget, and technical capabilities. So if you're not super technical, you're probably going to be using something like OpenAI. They basically will have you set up like an API key where you basically set up, it's basically a different type of OpenAI account. You get a little AI key, you load it with some credits, but it is connected to the internet in some shape, way, or form. You can set up zero data retention, so that API isn't actually able to retain any information that's going back and forth, and you can kind of feel safe around your privacy. But if you wanted to, and you're more technical, you can certainly host an LLM on the local machine so that, conversation, that memory, that never leaves your computer. There's also one that I like out there. It's called Open Router. So Open Router is a tool where you have a single API key for your AI LLM, and you can switch between, ChatGPT to Claude to anything really. And it allows you to quickly switch between them, but it's one centralized kind of API endpoint that you're adding into your Clawbot. And if ChatGPT comes out with ChatGPT 6 and you want to use ChatGPT 6, knock yourself out. But if you're doing a lot of, deep research and a lot of data and a lot of different timelines and you need spatial awareness and the image recognition, stuff like that, maybe you want to use Claude, and you can switch between those without having to go set up a new API key with a new company and so on. So Open Router is a good option if you want flexibility and you don't care about it being on your local machine. All right, so let's talk about, is it really worth it right now? Is the juice worth the squeeze in the construction industry? And I can tell that for many of you, it probably isn't. I could just tell by the attendee numbers dropping off as I got more in the weeds to technical abilities. I expected that in this webinar where some people would see this and probably be like, oh, I got to go buy a whole new computer for this. Like, no way, I ain't got time for that, right? So let's talk about the pros. So I feel like this is a true advancement in AI. Clawbot is going to showcase a significant advancement functioning as an autonomous assistant that can execute complex tasks. Early adopters, I've seen people experiencing increased efficiency by saying they're delegating those administrative duties to AI, allowing them to focus on, those high level decision making things, working on the business instead of in the business, as people say. Users appreciate the ability to customize the Clawbot to their workflows and giving it control, making it potentially a transformative tool in their daily operations. But I think that there's a big investment needed to get it to that point, to give it the power that it needs, to give it the access that it needs, to give it the skills, that it needs to truly be of value for you. And I think that that's a learning curve that not too many people are going to be willing to go over. So we're going to see this be like, I'm sure people are going to take that open source code and then turn it into different AI type of startups from that, with building on the back of this. But the cons are really about that learning curve and the limitations around it. So despite its promising capabilities, Clawbot might not be for everybody. Many professionals struggle to identify immediate applications that justify the setup and the learning curve around it. Additionally, the time and the technical know-how required to implement Clawbot effectively can basically deter some users, as we saw people that have not hung around till the end of this webinar. The software's current stage of development also means that it may lack the polish or the reliability needed for mission critical tasks. And when you're operating a construction company doing millions of dollars a year, some things just can't be risked, right? So that's something that needs to be thought about. So in conclusion here, this is going to just signify a transformation. And I want you guys to think of this as a step in the direction of AI agents. AI agents having more power, being able to do more for us is really what this signals. And that's what you should really take away from this, whether you're going to be implementing this or not. you're going to start seeing this become easier and easier and easier to implement and easier to use and easier to set up and safer to use. And I know that a lot of these companies are really working hard on this. One of Facebook's main missions when they basically stole all those developers for their AI initiative was around, hey, everybody should have a personal assistant AI agent that can go do things for them. And I think that that's still coming from them. But I think all of these different tools, we've seen a browser-based AI agent come out from OpenAI. We're seeing Clawbot and its hype, almost as much hype as, ChatGPT originally coming on. So this is just signaling a transformation in this AI industry. And I think 2026 is going to shape up to be pretty cool in this AI space, especially the agent side. While they're still trying to achieve that, human level intelligence, they're also working in parallel to allow AI to do more than just write poems and draft email responses for you. So as a tool that can manage administrative tasks and optimize workflows, this is going to empower professionals to focus on strategic decision making while maintaining control over their sensitive data. However, successful implementation does require commitment to learning and careful monitoring to mitigate risks associated with its use. And embracing Clawbot today provides a glimpse into the evolving future of AI-powered assistance in our daily work environment. So again, this is just going to get more and more kind of user-friendly as more and more companies work with us on this and continue to develop features for this. So with that, I'm going to basically open it up to the Q&A. If you guys aren't part of the AI Blueprint community, I put a 7-day free trial link in here for you guys, and I'm going to post it again. And if you guys have any questions, I'm very accessible in here. I post almost daily in here about something in the AI construction space. I try to create little infographics. Like we've had a ton of releases so far up to February in AI. So we're expecting GPT 5.3 here, February 12th. And then Meta has been like secretly working on this. It got leaked. It's called Avocado, but it's just another reasoning model to handle more complex tasks. I do try to post in here as much as I can about AI news, general discussions. There's also the classroom here. So if you guys haven't gotten in here, if you do the 7-day free trial, this is basically a beginner guide to AI and how to use it, how to understand what AI is. Then we have an advanced prompting course here. And I just released this custom GPT course. So I'd love your guys' feedback on this. I worked really hard on this, and I think that custom GPTs or something similar is really a lever that can get pulled on in a lot of organizations around repetitive tasks and repetitive analysis. I also host all of our webinar recordings are here. So this was our most recent one. Which AI model is best for you based on what kind of information that you guys use in your companies. The calendar here shows all of our webinars, as well as I do a office hours where I just get on a video call and one-on-one for 30 minutes. Anybody in the community can join, ask me any questions about any type of workflow that they're building out within their own organization. And then we have community members all over the world. So this AI construction community, I think we're approaching 100 now, but yeah, it's pretty cool to see people from all over the world join us here. Australia, the US, some in Europe. So yeah, if you guys haven't, feel free to click that link, join for free. So Chris just asked a question. Chris said, is there a platform that brings all the generative AI together, Gemini, Claude, OpenAI, Grok, instead of getting a subscription for all? I feel each tool has its pros and parts and construction than others. Also, I hear that OpenAI might be the first to fall. I don't think so. I think OpenAI is a front runner here, but if you're wondering about what models to use, this would be a great webinar for you to watch. I did this 2 weeks ago, and we dove deep into, depending on what types of tasks you're doing, which models might have the upper hand. Keep in mind, that's going to be a moving target. That one's still pretty recent, so this would be a good time to watch it. There is a a project that a guy showed me not too long ago, and it was called the Council, I think, the Council or something like that, where he plugged in all of these different AI models, and they actually would it would have an orchestrator agent basically distribute the single question to all the different AI models, Claude, Gemini, so on, and then it would basically bring it up to this main agent, summarize what it got from all the agents below it, and then give you an answer. But there are some limitations. I think that he had just built those with like API endpoints, and you're not going to get the same benefits as you would from like the paid accounts. You know, they're trying to get smart about like actually making money with this rather than giving everything away for free. I hope that helps you a little bit, Chris. If you have any further questions, this chat icon up here, you can ask me any questions as you have them. Lastly, I work in commercial general contractor. We don't want to get behind in the AI tech space. I've been looking at software with a pain point solution that others who are consultants, I'm trying to figure out what route to go to help my company processes by using AI and tech. So there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of noise out there, Chris. I'm happy to, hear about what those pain points are. I think that right now you're seeing very specialized solutions. I think that there's a few different categories around this. Selfishly, contracts connected, what I'm building, like I do these AI webinars, I do this community, I build these courses like more out of passion than anything. And these are for you guys, but my day job is a company called Contracts Connected, and we're building like this AI focused back office around contracts compliance, that general contractor vendor relationship, all the documents that flow back and forth, right? And like I said, AI can do a lot of this, right? AI can arguably do a lot of what contract administrators do. It's just nobody's really focused their time and attention to build in that space or to figure those things out or to train those models. So you're starting to see these contact companies really lean into that and really try to solve one critical pain point at a time because it's not easy to really focus in on those things to do it well at least. So it depends on what pain point you're trying to solve, Chris. We're solving a very specific one. But if you're trying to solve, AI usage in general, and you want some standard operating procedures around that, there's some people I know in the community that could certainly help you figure that out. So I hope that helps you, Chris, just a little bit. Any other? Oh, here we go, Chris. Chris, thanks. Okay, cool. Yeah, and if you need anything else, Chris, you know where to find me in here. So. That's, I think, all the questions, and that's going to bring us right up to time. Did you guys have any more questions? I'm happy to hang around for another minute or so. Otherwise, I hope this wasn't too in the weeds today. I hope that you guys got some value out of this today. And yeah, I would love to see you guys on future webinars. So I'm going to hang around here for a minute or two more. And if there's no questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks.